The downside, you should accept that is not being documented. See, the technology as a blockchain technology, which is certifying something for one property by doing it transparently, physically, and verified. So that comes with a kind of doing investment in technology that's the key area to me. And then the main money goes to the human development index. That's the key to our population where we have to, because the next COP we are coming in our human development index is 160. So that is going to be my achievement. Otherwise, I'm fake. I'm not attractive. I'm not working in the right direction. Because, doing these conferences is one point. Meeting on different platforms is the second point. But actually, the adaptation is a real task. Main thing comes with the actual change when it goes to the community. And communities means human development.
Top cooperation. So one of the projects we did very recently was mapping the youth textile value chain in Pakistan. And let me share, this is the first time that global South's value chain have been mapped. What we found out was that Pakistan is the largest importer of youth textiles that come from Europe, America, even Asian countries. And we are 99% circular. And the entire recycling is mechanical. And it involves those women and youngsters who are not very educated, but they are skilled enough to segregate yarn and thread and even the zip and buttons are weaves. And there is a very high probability that a Zara jacket may be sent to Pakistan has been reconverted to a jeans that is being worn by somebody in Europe. So then that's a very high probability. We re-export it back to those countries by adding value to it without getting any incentive for the kind of innovation that we are producing in Pakistan. Plus, this is our prices in African countries, but not in Pakistan because we recirculate the textiles, as Dr. Ayasuddin mentioned. We reproduce it in the form of a yarn that gets utilized by the textile and even the local textile industry in Pakistan. Now you can see how the youth works. About 70% youngsters in Pakistan who are full of brilliant ideas and invention of circular economy, textile, etc. They do not have access to these e-commerce platforms sometimes, like Amazon, etc. They require capacity to support. Why not establish joint platforms where those youngsters and SMEs and startup companies are supported directly? And within, whether there are 3 countries from South or 2 countries or 4 countries or multi-countries, I think that should be established and then you will be in a position to bargain at global north level where you are requiring finance, how much you are able to do, and where the development partners can invest. So that's all from me.
Thank you for this opportunity to represent Fashion Revolution Brazil. We are a non-profit civil society organization, and we are working to promote transparency. And we believe that the transparency is the path for the change. So we have the Fashion Transparency Index. That's a very important project that happens globally, but it also happens in Brazil. This year, for the first time, we focus on climate issues. So it is fundamental to understand what are the commitments from the brands, so we can demand change with small brands and producers. I believe we need more investment. So sport and all kinds of sports. So educational support and mainly financial support as well.
Is also making global carbon and climate finance agenda in terms of of the strategies of the industry. So if you read textile decarbonization projects under the Pakistan's new carbon market policy, which I congratulate you on, that we established last year, perhaps also develop a sectoral NDC, because much of what multilateral development banks actually has is that we have to align with the NDCs and the NAMs of countries. So if textiles and garment industries are actually part of that priority sector under the NDC, it's something that will make it more easy for us to develop that kind of investable project. And I'll stop there.
Thank you very much. So very happy to be here. Thank you for that presentation. And it's really wanted to really complete there for this policy for state and collaboration program. So at UN, you will see we have the years now, it's 7 years, we have completed national industry. Grants, but also manufacturing industry associations to come together and identify a common narrative for what it would look like to investigate also Paris agreements each department. At the Paris Charter has these overarching targets as determined with science, but then there's also requirements around transparency and accountability. And then there's a number of principles which really are not so much about the individual company, or as they are about the collective actions.
I think it has to be, the narrative has to be from aid-based to innovation-based cooperation to global south. And as I mentioned, maybe, we can always cite our entry back between global southern countries around innovation corridor or supporting creators, supporting innovative ideas in the countries. I think only if you support SMEs, the finance will figure it out. Otherwise, it's going to be very vague scenario, just like it has been. So the narrative has to be very specific. Otherwise, it will be very hard.
If you permit, I'd like to speak, Sam, and I invite you to change the place because I select 3 or 4 slides just to summarize what we are doing here in this country. That's very connected. What was presented before all the panelists. So number 1, we participate on different forums around the world. More or less, the same agenda is discussed. Change the language, but the agenda is urbanizing, finance, skills, investments, landfill. We are talking about one of the biggest markets for $2.3 trillion, and the international business around $805 billion. One of the biggest ones. And we reduce this in developed country, and developed country. So the number 1, how we would handle the difference of production.
What are the key?
One of the key areas to ensure quality SMEs, how they can participate in more planning and more development.
Alright, thank you so much. It's very far from you. Okay, well, I think there's a lot of things, right? I think we have to approach it holistically. So there has to be public or government support to the SMEs, but we also have to provide them tools and mechanisms such as taxonomy, where they can actually, use and apply on how to determine some of their operations as being green. So that's one part. So policy, government support, tools that they can work with. But I think also, again, going back to sustainability, because not just about MRP that has been mentioned before, but also how they meet the standards in the global scale, how they meet their environment safeguards, how they meet the interoperability of having a taxonomy, how they treat the operations itself. So it has to be a holistic approach from the country and the policy is already established. And of course, Dr. Ayuso 17 has already highlighted some of the solutions that the garment industry, garment and textiles